news on the newspaper page, and love and tradition of the grand design. Some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. It's the bigger love of the family.
What is up, party people? It is your boy Chief with the Bob the Cigar Guy YouTube channel empire, whatever you want to call this. Welcome into yet another Thursday night where it's just you and me. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Big welcomes into the 11 people who are currently watching. Let's get over here and see Fireborn, Gary Zanstra, Banker John, Charles the Adamson, Michael Zakovic, Cigar Pop, Keith Johnson, Ronald Smith, just to name a few. What up, William? How are you all? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's been quite a busy week. I am actually, we're in the great state of South Kakalaki. I am absolutely whooped. I honestly thought that tonight's show was not going to happen. I was very confident that the show tonight was actually not going to happen for a while. It has been a busy week. My wife and I mentioned this last week, and in weeks previous, my wife and I, we are on the house hunt, and we've been doing that in our spare time. And then my wife and I are also very involved with our church, and my wife leads up the missions coordination at our church, and our alma mater is right down the street from our church. And so they had a college church mixer this evening, and she put all that together. And of course, as a NGU alum and good faithful husband, I went out there and helped her with that this evening, and it was god awful hot. Oh my goodness, man. The humidity, the heat, the sun, it beat it out of me. So your boy is definitely sleepy. What's going on, Jay? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well this evening. For all of you who have jumped in here the last 4.5 minutes, first off, thank you for popping in. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully you guys have, and gals, maybe some of you, have your cigars picked out for you already for the evening. If you do, or if you're already smoking, let me know what you're smoking, or what you plan to smoke. And if you're going to be drinking something, let me know what you are planning to drink. I am going to be taking a trip down the Tatawahe lane, and I'm going to be smoking the El Triunfador Lanceros. I guess this is a new cigar, or maybe it's a new blend for Tatawahe. I was sold it at a cigar shop today. Not my normal cigar shop that I work at, but no, I picked up some tats, and so I thought I would definitely. Oh, I already cut the cigar. What am I doing? I already cut it. Goofball. Charles Adamson says down to a mild 102 today. Whew. Banker John says smash the like button. Absolutely, Banker John. We do have love over on Facebook and 3 likes. Thanks for the love over there on Facebook, guys. There are 13 of you on YouTube and 2 on Facebook. So thank you all for hanging out and spreading the love across both platforms. Let's see. It's JT. Your dad not joining you? No. I know it's JT. I knew it was you. No, he's not joining this evening. He texted me at like 6:30 and was like, "Hey, if all goes to plan, I will be asleep before you even get over here to do your show." So, he is not going to be on the show tonight. You have me, which, with as tired as I am, I'm not sure how much of me you're going to get this evening. You're at least going to get this cigar out of me. That's for sure. I'll give you that. I will give you at least a cigar. This is called a Lancero. Doesn't feel like a Lancero. Feels a little thicker than a Lancero. Very, very nice initial puffs, though. William says it's light here in North Carolina. Did a porch fixing job on Monday and Tuesday. Bought some Macanudo cigarillos yesterday. Still can't smoke where I live, unfortunately. Sorry about that. That sucks. That is a bummer, as they say in the biz. Ronald Smith's drinking Dragon's Milk Origin and Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve. Ooh, what a combo. Keith Johnson's got a Padron. Oh, my mouth didn't want to work. Keith Johnson's got a Padron 4000 Maduro and a Diet Mountain Dew. So Matt Bergen's got the BDP from Postania. Rick Carroll, welcome into the show. JT, not sure yet. It's the first time I've ever smoked it. So as I smoke it, I will let you know. Rick Carroll's got some Sagamore bourbon with a Norteño. Ooh, Norteño. Throwing it back. Fireborn's got a week trip planned for the Florida Barn Smoker in November. Taking several days in Tampa and Ybor City, even signed up for a ghost tour in Ybor. Ooh. I'm going to hit up the JC Newman El Reloj. We've got a guy who's a member at the lounge who's going on vacation down to Ybor City and going to be touring the El Reloj here. I think he goes next week. Maybe he's down there now. I don't remember. All my days are trying to run together. Now that school is back in session, because my wife's a teacher, so I've got a wife who's at school because she's teaching, and then all three of my kids are in school. Shepard's in K4, my daughter's in first grade, and my oldest is in fourth grade. It's been kind of crazy working at the shop and then looking at buying a house and all of the fun that comes with that. And then doing stuff with the church up at the university for the past couple weeks. Man, it has just been run ragged time. So everything seems to be mulching together. Charles Adams says it's too hot here to smoke a good cigar, so I have a factory smoke shade. That's not a bad cigar. I mean, it's definitely a yard car. That's for sure. Michael Zachary says it's a beautiful 78 degrees. Ooh, man, you're talking about some crisp fall, September, October days. Man, I am so ready. I am so ready for autumn, man. You have no idea how ready for autumn I am. We had a morning a couple weeks ago where it was like 59 degrees and it didn't get up into the 80s until like 12 o'clock. I mean, I thought about just calling out of work and going and frolicking through a field somewhere. Just how nice it was. I am ready for fall. Why a new house? So that I can have my own house. It's location, my own house, not somebody else's house. So it's a buyer's market right now. It's not as cheap as I'd like it to be. That's for sure. But there's more buying power as a buyer right now than there is as a seller. So, it's kind of, for us, it kind of feels like it's the right time. And hey, there's 20 people. We continue the streak. Also, to add to the, I think it's Charles Adamson. Buy a camper? No, thank you. That is not for a married man and 3 children. And a camper that can accommodate that, I'll just buy a house instead. Supremo Tobacco says, can't stay for the live, but wanted to drop in and say, I love y'all. Have a great show and great rest of the week, fam. Bye, Brian. Love you. Hope you have a great week. End-ish. Week into the week. If I could smoke it, I have one of my multiple cigars. Rock Patel Prodigy, Asylum 13 Ogre, CO America, or another one I can't remember the name of. Hey, I'm going to smoke this Tatuaje El Triunfador for you. I picked up a couple tats today. I try to get to other cigar lounges from time to time, just because not everybody cares the same thing in our area. Which is nice, because if everybody cared the same thing, you'd never have a reason to really switch and check out another lounge. But I also picked up I guess these are the Tatuaje 20th. So the Havana 6 20th Series E, which is this red boy right here. Wow. This guy, picked him up. And then I picked up the Tatuaje Black Private Reserve Robusto, which also has a 20 on it, on that secondary band. So pick those up. I'm not like a tat head, but I definitely don't smoke enough Tatuaje to be like, yeah, I could tell you everything about Tatuaje if you asked me. I really don't have that ability. And so Tatuaje is a brand that I need to smoke more often so that I can have a much better informed opinion on Tatuaje. So every time I go to that cigar shop, I pick up Tatuaje, try something new. I did try to look for one of the Tatuajes that I really enjoyed earlier in the year, but they were out of them. They're stoked. See you, Jake. T. Hope you have a great night, man. There was a fire in my daughter's garage that took out the electricity, and the smoke damage made it uninhabitable. My daughter and grandson are living with us until we can get it rebuilt. Whoa. I'm glad they're all right. That's crazy. That's really scary. Cigar Pop says, I hate to do it, but with this heat, we're looking for ice cream. Have a great show, and I'll be listening and driving. On the road again. Looking for ice cream on the road again. Can't smoke cigars, but I'll eat on my sherbet. Cigars and ice cream go together, especially if you ask Krista K. I don't know where I was going with that, but since you're listening, play you the soft melodic sounds of Chief and the Leaves on your radio. So tonight's show is called Build Your Own Cigar Lounge. I will say I am kind of fixated on building a cigar lounge right now. Like, well, not a like building a cigar lounge to sell cigar out of, but building a cigar lounge at your house. Excuse me. I told you I was tired. Building a cigar lounge like at your house or on your property, or maybe you have a business that's got a really dope spot you can put a cigar lounge on the roof or something like that. But yeah, tonight's episode is Build Your Own Cigar Lounge, because since I'm on the house hunt right now, there is a really real feeling of I want to buy a house that I can put a cigar lounge on the property, a studio for myself, because sorry, I would really like to stop driving on Thursdays over here. Now, that does not mean that Chief Talk ceases to exist. It just means that Chief Talk ceases to be produced from Traveler's Rest or on my mom and dad's property, because I could find a house with traveler's rest. Possibly. Not looking at traveler's rest. But there's always this is terrible. There's always a chance that I could find a house in traveler's rest that works for us, and we go down that line. But with buying a house, I'm looking at houses that have either the opportunity to build in the backyard or on the property, or have an established building that I could turn into a studio / private smoke lounge. And it's got me thinking, like, well, if I could build my own private studio, private cigar lounge, what would I do? Listen, I don't trust a lick of whatever they do. That's just in general. That's why I'm fine when they fly separate from me. Sorry. That's why I'm fine when they fly separate from me. Because I don't trust them and their traveling schedule. I'm fine when they drive separately from me. I'm fine when they do everything else without me. I am a ship with a self-propelled sail, and I like worrying just about myself. Now, there would be some things from here in the studio that would go with me. Like, most of the liquor collection over here would go with me. At least half of the cigars. A lot of the swag would probably go as well. I don't think I'd get any of the big, tall humidors, but I do have my new air humidor. I would not want to take the refrigerator because I'd want to get a better refrigerator. But it got me thinking, like, if I buy a house that I can build my own studio / cigar lounge, private cigar lounge, and that gives me great content to make. A building out series of a private cigar lounge on your own property. I also didn't go to bed till after 4:30 last night. I couldn't go to sleep, and then I had to be up at 10. Oh, sorry. I had to be up at 9:30. So I was up at 9. So I'm running on empty today. And of course, Bob Cigar Guy flaked out on me, so I don't have anything to bounce off of him. Charles Edison says everyone is fine. We were all out of town when it happened, just property, but still a pain. Yeah, that stinks, man. I'm glad everybody's all right, though. I honestly was looking for a Macanudo-ish cream, but the Harris Teeter I got it at didn't have them. The Tatawahe Limited from the Great Smoke this year was a banger. All gone now, though. Start with the HVAC, insulation, ventilation, and build from there. Ronald Smith says, love having my own cigar lounge. Jeremy and I get together at least once a week at one of our home's lounges. Chico Ray, I'm doing great. I'm tired. I'm really tired. But I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well, brother. I hope you're doing really well. So some of the properties that I've looked at when it comes to these houses that we're looking at do have shops on them. And they're in pretty good condition to go ahead and start turning into a cigar spot. That's more than just, rabbit air, humidification and a window AC unit and whatever. But I think starting with the HVAC, insulation, ventilation, built from there. I think, I'm a big fan of the rabbit air. This rabbit air running at high speed, one, is quiet, but two, it purifies the air in the shop well enough to not need to suck out air from our roof vents. When we first created the studio, we didn't have any rabbit airs. And so what we did was we built we bought 2 Whisper Quiet bathroom fans. One of them has Bluetooth lighting and a Bluetooth speaker in it. Doesn't work very well. And we were originally just sucked all the air out of here. Now, one of the things about doing that is if you are removing the air out of the smoking area faster than you were replacing the air, then all of a sudden you no longer have air movement, which means you no longer have smoke movement. You literally have no, what's up, Jay Bates? You literally have no way of pulling the smoke out of the room. And so you've got to have, if you're going to take out air, you have to put in as much air as you take out. Now, if you purify the air, rabbit air, it takes the nasty smoky air, runs it through a set of filters, pushes out clean air out the top, and your environment's not too smoky. I do like the mini split idea. I've not done any research on the mini split, but the mini split idea is definitely what I'm thinking of instead of doing like a window unit or built into the wall unit. We have a window unit built into the wall here in the shop, and you know what? It does a pretty darn good job. It keeps us nice and cool. I would like to have an AC. I think they sell. Let's Google this before I make myself an idiot. Make myself look like an idiot because I am an idiot. Is there portable AC and heater all in one unit? Yes, there is. Look at that. The Vivor portable 5-in-1 air conditioner and heater combo. What 5 things is there? Holy camole. What's the features and details? Cooling, heating, dehumidifying, fan, or sleep mode in a portable air conditioner. Easily switch modes, stay comfortable during hot days, humid weather, and mild conditions. 1 AC for everyday use. No extra appliances needed. Huh. Not bad. 14,000 BTU. Darn. I'm only 24 and have my dream basement lounge drawn out, and it's going to have a small lounging area with a big walk-in humidor and alcohol storage. Nice. Ron Smith says, here in the north we need heat and AC. I'd like it all to be one unit because right now, here in the studio, we have the AC in the wall that's up about 7 feet. And then we have a floor space heater that we put in here, and it's on its own thermostat during the wintertime. And it does its own thing. It is not hard to condition this space. Here in the studio, we have a 10 by 12 box that's 8 foot tall. And it is all closed cell spray in foam insulation. So it's a very well insulated space. And it is super nice when it's super hot outside like it was today. And I walked in here and it was freaking 68 degrees. It was so nice. But yeah, if I'm building my own spot, you know, once I have the building built, the first thing that goes into it isn't walls. It's, you know, planning the electricity, and it's planning where ductwork and all that stuff is going to go. Now, if I had an unlimited budget, it would have its own HVC and heat pump and all that stuff. But then I would turn it into a personal humidor that is big enough to accompany. 10 people is probably enough. I feel like 10 people is a huge personal lounge. Um, the most people that we've had in this lounge, in our studio at one time, I want to say is 5 people. I think the most we've ever had in here is 5. Because we had Bob Cigar Guy, my mom, Ron, his wife, and me in here. So that's 5 people. And that's tight. Really tight. I think we've had that amount of people in here a couple times, different ways. If I had a lounge that was big enough to support 10 people, I feel like I would have a very large lounge. And if I had that large of a lounge, I'd probably have an outdoor patio attached to it so that if there were more than 10 people, people could also sit outside. If I had a personal private lounge that could afford or that could accommodate 10 people, I would have big enough AC replacing air that I could just vent out the air. Another thing that sucks when you vent out the air is, like, let's say in the summer, in the wintertime, right? In the wintertime, if we're in here smoking and we're chooching it up and it's like getting smoke in here and we cut those roof fans on, all the heat gets sucked out too. But when you have the rabbit air going, then the rabbit air is just taking that that conditioned air, whether it be chilled or hot or heated, it's taking that air and it's passing it through the filters and it's pushing it right back out. So maybe it cools it down a little bit when it's warmer air in here, but it's not taking it out and your heater's having to, heat up all this extra air. And then again, if you're not replacing the air in here, you're never going to be able to heat anything up. Charles Adamson says, mini split heat pump. Look at Pioneer. Very cost effective. 2 of them, 3-ton total, keep my 1,200 square foot garage shop at 72 year round. Dang. 1,200 foot garage. That's a mammoth. That's a house. Ronald Smith says, my mini split has both. It's up high, out of the way. Save my windows for nice weather with a cross breeze. Ooh, that sounds elegant. Chico Ray says, I'm working on something similar to a lounge in my garage. Mini split, 2 out of 4 walls already insulated, garage door insulated, but got a lot more to make 100% done. That sounds dope. Can't wait to see that completed. Outdoor with patio with a fire pit. Elite move. Now, one of the things that I wish that I would have done here. What's up, Sammy Flo? Hopefully you're doing well. One of the things that I wish that we would have done here, we don't have space for it because we built the studio so much smaller than the rest of the shop. But one of the things that I wanted to do out here in the studio was I wanted to put a sink out here. I wanted running water out here. Now, it didn't have to be running water for, like, you need a dishwasher and a hand wash sink and a water fountain or whatever. I just wanted to have water out here so that I could quickly rinse things off, right? You have a glass out here with beer in it, or you have a whiskey glass that's got bourbon in it or scotch in it or whatever. And you want to wash it out. Like for here, I had to take all those dishes down to the house, my mom and dad's house. I got to wash them. I got to wait for them to get clean. And then I bring them back up here and that's a whole process where I wish that we would have basically just run a water hose to a PVC pipe underground up to the shop and then into a valve in here where we just cut on hose water at all times, pour some soap, scrub it, rinse it, let it dry on its own. Don't care about water spots. It's clean. I think I have learned that if I ever get the opportunity to build myself a lounge studio, I'm not bought on the, I guess, the description does say if I had an unlimited amount of space and an unlimited budget. Yeah. But then that's just one more thing to clean, right? Then you got to worry about people washing their hands. I don't know about toilet. That seems like a lot of work. Seems like more work. Maybe a private one nobody else knows about. But I would love up here to have a hand sink that I could wash dishes in. pour some soap on stuff. No, it didn't have to be hot because I'm not cooking up here, right? Just a sink that works well enough to get dishes clean enough. Because I'm tired of taking dishes down the hill and washing them and having to wait and then bring them up here. And then, or I say, hey, can you take these up to the shop whenever they get done? And my dad's like, yeah, sure. And then they'd ever come up here and they get mixed in with the groceries, the cups and plates and stuff that are downstairs or down the hill. So I definitely would want to have some sort of hand sink. Sammy Flo says, just had the first lady come out with her buckets of water when you need water. Yeah, I'm sure. I was trying to send a pic of my blueprint, but the app ain't allowing me to screenshot or download it properly. Darn. Through to Instagram. You can send it over to the Discord. So I think I definitely want to have some sort of sink or water. You know, again, I'm not using it to cook. You know, I'm not using it to. I'm not using it to, you know, prepare food or clean dishes that have had food on them. I'd really just like to have the ability to take a glass, stick it under running water, get it nice and wet, pour soap in it, hit it with a scrubber, put it back under the water faucet, drain out the soapy stuff, put the cup upside down so that the cup's ready to go the next time, right? Because especially with, you know, we've got all sorts of bottles of alcohol, right? We've got all sorts of stuff. And we love to share when people are here. And we love to have the ability to drink it while we're here. And every time we drink up here during a show or while we're here, it's just one more thing that we have to worry about. And so a lot of times we'll say, don't worry about pouring me anything because I just don't want to do the dishes. Now, yeah, we could buy plastic cups and stuff like that. But you don't ever want to. Yeah, a laundry sink with the water jugs isn't a bad idea. That's basically what I had tried to sell Bob the Cigar Guy on the second time we talked about it was, hey, we could just get couple 5-gallon buckets and fill them with water and put a lid on them with some sort of like bleeder valve, and then just hang it up high so that the water pressure could just, we wouldn't have to pump it. We wouldn't have to have a battery pump or plugged in or anything like that. You just, it's just enough water to basically unplug, fill up, plug, scrub, unplug, rinse, plug, done. Sewer or septic is the big expense. Water and tankless heater is easy. I think I would honestly, again, because I'm not going to be doing any food with the sink, I would almost install almost like a wet bar sink or a dry bar sink, whatever. I'm not making, and put a little ice machine in there, but put a sink, cabinet it in, box it in, put it next to your bar, and then run a hose out the back of the your building or out of the wall or whatever into a hole that's got, maybe it's a 4-foot hole that you filled with gravel and limestone, and then you've got this PVC pipe that runs down to it. So it's always draining, like it drains very easy into the rock, and then it drains into the ground. But the only thing that's ever going into the ground is soap and water. And you can buy soaps that are biodegradable or not bad for the environment or whatever. Literally just not even, it's just gray water. And I'm beer residue is going down. So I guess, yeah, technically you'd be adding in like a bunch of sugars and stuff from beers and whiskeys and whatnot. But I'm not talking about like needing a disposal or, some like lactobacteric acid that are going to eat, pizza crumbs or whatever. No, that's not what the sink is for. The sink is literally just there to wash out cups. Not even there to wash your hands. It's just there to wash out cups so that you don't have to keep taking cups up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Charles Adams says I had to install an ejection pump because the shop is lower elevation than the sewer or the street. Yuck. That could cause some backup problems. Can you put a medium-sized rainwater tank above the shop? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely could. These are. This is just theoretical land. La La Land, Chief's La La Land of fun and mystery. Where it's if you had an unlimited amount of space, an unlimited budget, and could build your smoking space the way that you want to, what would you include? Because I would definitely want to have a bar. I'd want to have a refrigerator so that I can keep things cold. I'd want to have an ice maker. Now, what does that? Does that mean I have a refrigerator with a freezer and then ice molds, or I get one of the cool new air systems that make ice for me? That is quite literally just a machine that makes ice. I would want to have a fridge for cold drinks because I'm not a big drinker, so I don't drink a lot of beer. I don't drink a lot of spirits, but I love drinking waters. I love drinking seltzer water. I love drinking Dr. Pepper. I love drinking Dr. Pepper Zero, Coke Zero, sweet tea, you name it. But also having cold canned beers is nice too, or bottle, because some people prefer bottles. And while I'm not big on drinking spirits, there are spirits that I'd love to drink. Like, I love this bottle of Buffalo Trace. I love that bottle of Weller. I love that bottle of Basil Hayden. I love that Knob Creek. This Dragon's Milk Origin. I just don't drink a lot of it. But if I had this on my own property and I had friends over, I could have the ability to have that to go with the cigars, which I smoke a lot of cigars. And when it's hot outside, I hate being hot smoking cigars. When it's cold outside, I hate being cold when I smoke cigars. So I'd love to have a spot. So I just had, my brain's been running with buying a house and, looking at houses and properties and, selecting backyards or property space or yards or whatever in general. Part of my listing is I'd like to find something that either doesn't have an HOA or the HOA is not going to get in a bind if I build something in my backyard that I can smoke cigars out of. Charles Adamson says lots of options from the RV or overlanding world, portable gray water tanks and all. Oh yeah. And that's what a lot of people do with that kind of stuff is they go that way because it can be somewhat more affordable and more compact. But I guess like the easiest way to do it would just be, I say easiest would be like get a splitter on your faucet, split one side into a PVC pipe, run it into the ground, bury it across the yard, run it to your shed, put it in your shed, hook it up to a faucet, and then you just have perpetual cold water whenever you turn that faucet on. Obviously, there are better ways to do it. That's just the easiest way to do it. Outside of buying a gallon jug of water and just having a gallon jug of water sitting somewhere and just pouring it into a sink and letting it drain out. Be interesting. Now, flooring. When it comes to the studio, we chose a thin office carpet. One reason why was because it was cheap. Another reason why is because we wanted to sound deadened in here. Fortunately, there's not a lot of echo in here. And a lot of that is due to the fact that the whole entire 122 square foot of floor is carpet. J-Bait says that's what? That's amazing. Thank you. I am. But I think I would want to go with like a floating, like interlocking laminate or tile, do like a legit tile job, and then have like a rug in the middle where either some nice leather chairs or something old school-esque kind of meet up to around a central table or ottoman. If it's an ottoman, I would want it to have a hard top that you can put ashtrays and cutters and lighters and matches on, and have that space. I really would want it just to be a true gentleman's arena. No, not that only dudes would ever come in there. You know, hopefully, if any of you were traveling through, I could say, hey, come by the house. Tonight we're going to smoke good and we're going to drink well and we're going to do it safely on my property and you can hang out with me. J-Bait says that's my problem with the HOA. Can't be built a separate building on the property. Has to be connected to the house. So one day I'll build an addition to the garage and add a smoking spot. Yeah, it's lame. Like if you can't build on your own property without somebody telling you what you can and can't do, in the sense of like people who don't lord over you, like, is it really your property? I don't know. I struggle with that. Gary's Interest says need to move to the country with no HOA. Then you can do whatever you want. Hey, that's part of what I'm hoping for in finding a house. Lots of cool looking porcelain tile available. That with a rug is the best of both worlds. Ease of cleaning and comfort. And that's the thing too, is like this rug in here, it's grody. I'd about once a quarter try to get in here, especially on my side, and I get a palm sander and I attach it to the carpet and I cut it on super high and it vibrates all the dirt up. And then I've got a shop vac that I just suck all the dirt out of. But with, there is no foot carpet path in between the door of the shop and the door of the studio. And Bubba Cigar walks in here a lot and it gets dirty. It's grody. And with the tile, that's nice because one, the dirt can't seep into something. It just is there. You can vacuum out and then you can mop it out and dry it off. You can vacuum out a rug. You can take a rug out. You can power wash a rug. You can let it dry in the sun. So I think that's the definite way that I would go. Plus, if I'm building a studio, a studio / cigar cave for myself. I can, affect this. One of the cool things about these, these microphones now, because when we built the studio, we didn't have these. These are only, these are less than a year old here. They're not picking up a lot of echo. Now, because Bob the Cigar Guy speaks so loud, they will pick up Bob the Cigar Guy on my mic. And because there's a delay in his mic and my mic, because we're called into two separate streams, or two separate computers onto one stream, there is a delay. And so you can hear him, even though we're speaking at the same time, you can hear him differently because of the delay. Now, that would be different if I was in a studio by myself. I wouldn't have Bob the Cigar Guy there, unless he was over there to worry about a delay. Used to be hard to build in the backyard here. Now all the jurisdictions want more housing, so they will approve almost any auxiliary dwelling unit. That's nice. It's nice when that freedom works for you. It wasn't hard to get this building built. This building is 12 by 34, I think. 12 by 32. It's 12 by 32. And then at the peak, I think it's 14 feet tall. So I mean, it's an impressive building. We had no problem doing that here. And again, some of the properties that we're looking at already have some sort of building on them. They would just definitely need to be updated, retrofitted, and turned into a shop. Now, power is another big thing. When we were building this studio, for the first year, 2 years, for power out here, we were running a drop cord from the house. We were running drop cords from the house out here so that we could have power for our lights, for our computers, for our cameras. Now, because of Travis Acord and hard work and a lot of fun lessons, we have dedicated power out here. Dedicated power to a studio / cigar shop is 100% non-negotiable. You got to have it. I don't want to be running everything off of drop cords. That's just no fun. So then you got to pick the drop cords up when you want to mow the grass. There's, a chance, somebody unplugs something and you lose all your power out here. That's no fun. Just bury a tube, bury like a 1.5 PVC pipe and run power out here, but then also run Ethernet out here because I'd love to have a router off of the modem in a shop so that I could have direct power or direct internet. Not PoE stuff, but at least wireless. Or, if I put it into a switch, then I can then power my computer by Ethernet, but then also have Wi-Fi available for speakers, lights, and other, modular modifications. But basically turn it into its own little domicile, but just for cigar smoking purposes. I'd love to say you could turn it into a cigar lounge, but you can also turn it into a little, staycation mother-in-law suite whenever your friends come over. It's like, it's cigar shops. Like if you stop the air in a cigar shop and you just let it sit stagnant for a couple days, you can smell how bad a cigar shop stinks. It's bad. It stinks. William says, mine's going to be big enough to have a 10-person seating area, 30-person theater, a big poker table, pool table, bar with full kitchen, and of course, my walk-in humidor liquor storage. Dang. You got you building a cigar shop, baby. Solar panels will be cool. Solar panels that go into deep cell battery storage. Honestly, not a bad idea, especially for where I live. Like even during the wintertime, we get enough sun to, if you did a Jackery system, where you have Jackery battery banks, you could definitely get away with something like that. Because again, you put in LED lights, it's not like you're burning through, you're not running a washing machine or a heater or a dryer out there. Now I guess you could be running the AC and heater. I don't know. I guess that runs off of power. So maybe that would just need some dedicated power. Charles Adams says I ran Cat 6 underground to mine straight from the modem to a switch. So my Ethernet is solid. That's what I want to do now that I'm learning more about the whole, switch. I think that's what I want to do. I would still want to have, you run it to a router but that router is a switch, so you can still continue to use Ethernet out of the back of the router, but then the router provides Wi-Fi. But you use that Wi-Fi for things like your lights or, wireless control over the Rabbit Air or for your phone, or, whatever. But having the ability to plug in your computer or your laptop into Ethernet, major plus. That would be nice, Gary. A wood stove. That's nice. That's nice. That's actually really nice. It's obviously more of a man cave party area, but I made it that way intentionally. Hey, I'm down. Hey, when it gets built, baby, I better be on the invite list. Because that sounds like a party. And we haven't even talked about the humidor. Do you build a walk-in humidor? I don't know if I want to build a walk-in humidor. Well, I had always thought about, if we ever added onto the studio here, I would want to add on like another 16 feet that way. And then it'd be 12 by 16 out that way. And inside that 12 by 16, make a 8 by 16 walk-in humidor. But then you've got to build you've got to have a humidifier that is constantly keeping that room humidified. You need to make sure, one of the things that I learned with this new air, because it's not a humidor, it is a humidor, but it is not humidified. It is a air temperature controlled humidor. And what it does is it just has a fan bringing in air and it's conditioning that air to a certain temperature. But I learned that because of the air being humid in the shop, it was just pushing so much humidity into that humidor that it was molding on my cigars. And I don't want to create a walk-in humidor in an environment that is ambiently more humid. Now I could seal off every nook and cranny of the spot. I could have super sealed doors that I don't have to worry about there being any in or out of humidity. I can make sure my windows are sealed so well that there's no in or out of humidity. The room stays humidified just by the humidifier. But I think, honestly, I'd rather just have a bunch of humidors that I can close the door and throw Bovida packs in there and let it do its own thing and eat. I know it's lazy. But honestly, I think I'd rather just do that for a personal private humidor. Plus, you can save more space because you build a walk-in humidor, you're losing space. Correction. The modem goes to a router, then to switches and mesh wire. Okay, sorry. I'm going to have to be walked very slowly through that process when I buy a house because I want to make sure that the internet, I want PoE in the house for everything that can be PoE. And then everything that can be put on Ethernet that uses internet to be on Ethernet. I want as little as possible to be on Wi-Fi. But the things that go on Wi-Fi and the places that I need Wi-Fi to be, I want to have good Wi-Fi. So my boss, Ernie, Charles, Gary Brooks, will all be consulted during that time about what I'm going to do. But I'm not there yet. So I'm also learning. So forgive me for speaking incorrectly. Might say space with a walk-in humidor. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It just seems like more of it seems like it could present a headache with the, I don't know, with the Bovida pack, right? Bovida pack will push out humidity up to 69% or whatever it is. But then if it's too humid, it will suck in the humidity so that it saves the cigars. And if I have a humidor that is open air, in a spot in South Carolina, it gets very humid, right? And if I've built this thing right, again, if I've built it right, and hey, we're on La La Land again, so I build it right. Yeah. So if we're in La La Land and I build it right and I have all the right machinery to make sure that the humidity never drops below 67 and never gets above 71, heck yeah, I'm doing a walk-in humidor, because I'm going to take every single cigar out of cellophane. I'm going to put them in their special little spots across the walk-in humidor, and I'm going to just walk in there and grab whatever I want to grab like I'm shopping for Christmas time. You bet your booty. But again, that's La La Land. I was once at a lounge in the tropics. They had a mini split running. It's dry mode to keep the walk-in below 75%. I imagine that's what a lot of places in Florida have to do, is they literally have to dry the air out. I mean, anybody who's ever been to Corona Cigar, the whole lounge is just the humidor. There is no distinction between lounge and humidor. The lounge is humidor. That's crazy to me. That's insane. A Damascus humidor. Whoa. My man Williams got some ambitions. I'm here for it. You do it, man. Verdict of the El Triunfador Lancero from Tatawahe. It's okay. Medium plus, getting there. A very dry smoke. Not a lot of sweetness that comes out of the retrohale. Got a little bit of, it's actually really earthy, kind of funky. Not bad, not like musty. No sweetness out of the cigar. Maybe like a bitter dark cacao. It's very earthy. But it's full. It's rich. It's good. Again, no, I'm not pulling any sweetness out of this. Usually I'll pull some sort of sweetness out of the retro. Maybe a hint of like graham cracker, but again, it's not super sweet. It's more like what are those old cookies? Ginger snaps. Mexican hot chocolate. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's more of a ginger snap. Yeah, a little funky, ginger snappery, full, medium plus to full. Construction's pretty nice. I do think I might be dealing with a little tunnel issue somewhere in here, because I feel like I'm a little hotter than I should be, and I feel like I'm drawing not enough smoke through. So that usually tends to lead me to think there's a tunnel in here somewhere. Cigar Pop says, I've returned and couldn't listen while driving because it interrupted my GPS. Replay it will be. Well, thank you for watching the replay here soon, because we are about to leave. Chief is a sleepy boy. I've been holding off some yawns here in the last couple minutes. Charles says my Wi-Fi is 100 megabits per second anywhere on the property. Have 400 megabits per second cable coming in. That's the beauty of mesh wireless. My system is about 4 years old, so faster available now. Yeah, again, Partial of that is still Chinese to me. I know it's so easy for you. And so I'm like, huh? A lot of what has kind of helped me learn some of that is going through the Ubiquity software stuff for cameras. So I will get there. I will learn. It's something like I feel that I should have learned by now. But I've never truly had like the opportunity to, push wireless communications across my house or studio or yard or whatever. But I'd love to be able to, and not just rely on, I have internet cable. I have modem. I put in modem. Oh, I have router. I put from modem to router to have Wi-Fi. Like I wanna get better than just clang clang. I know how this works. Right. All right. So thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I know it was quite the push. Tonight was it's not as fun when Bob the Cigar Guy is not here. Hopefully he'll be back with us next week. I would definitely be I should be much more rested by next week, that's for sure. So thank you all for hanging out with me. Hopefully you all have smoked something really good over the last week. Hopefully y'all reach one kind of why. Yeah, Mr. 75 person humidor. But no, hopefully you guys smoke some dope stuff over the weekend and before next Thursday. And if not, save the dope stuff for next Thursday and we'll smoke it together. I love you all. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I'm going to get out of here and I'll see you. I mean, if you really want to see me, I hang out over on the Discord, second link in the description, but I also are on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook sometimes, but I'm on Instagram all the time. So see ya. Love you. Mean it.
Yeah, time to relax. Whew, man, I'm beat. Whew. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Show's over. Go home. Go home. Show's over. What are you waiting for? You waiting for another show? This is a one-ticket entry. Go. Bye. Go. Go. Go.